Okay, so you're looking to buy a laptop for school and you're debating whether you should buy a laptop that runs Windows 10 or if you should get a MacBook that runs the Mac OS. So I'm going to be sharing as much as information I can along with my opinions and hopefully help you decide which side you should join.
Answer me, am I supposed to go dark side or something?
Alright, so basically, as of right now, the two main operating systems that are dominating the laptop market are macOS and Windows 10 Pro. Yes, I know Linux is, there, but I don't really see it out there. I can't go to Best Buy and buy a laptop that runs Linux right off the bat. So it's something more for enthusiasts, and I'm gonna be talking about just the two popular OSs that you can get on a laptop. So you probably know that Mac OS only works on Mac computers or like Apple computers. But with Windows 10 you have a whole selection: Dell, HP, Acer, Asus, Lenovo, and all sorts of different brands. So in one way you have more variety. How could I forget Microsoft? They make their own surfaces. Anyways, so right off the bat you have a huge variety to pick from when you buy a laptop. Now, being a student, I'm gonna expect that you are most likely broke, or let's say you're on a budget. Let's just assume you are on a tight budget and you have about 1,000 Canadian dollars. So one thing you could do is you can buy a MacBook Air base model for just flat 1K, and yeah, that's all you can get. If you get a Windows computer, you can start off at about $200-300 too, but they're not the best. So we're gonna be realistic here and think about a laptop for about $500. You can get a $500 Windows laptop that can equally perform or even outperform your $1,000 MacBook Air. So because Windows 10 runs on a whole lot of manufacturers, there are Windows laptops that go for $6,000-7,000 Canadian, by the way, or you can get a $500 laptop that can still do your daily student tasks like running Word, check, Chrome, check, spreadsheets, check, whatever you want, check. Well, at least the basic stuff, it'll work on pretty much any laptop. So if you are a student on a tight budget, I wouldn't be thinking about should I even get a MacBook, because if you are tight on your price, I think Windows is definitely the way to go. And yeah, that's my answer. If your concern is getting a laptop that just does the work for a cheap price, you don't care, you just want the job to get done, Windows it is. Don't even think about Mac. It's already overpriced. For students, unless you have the money or if your parents are helping you or whatever, then you should even consider the Mac. But if you are just dead broke, just want to get a laptop that does the work, Windows all the way. So I've been a Windows user ever since Windows XP, and to be honest, I have never ever switched to a Mac as a full-time laptop. However, I've gone as far to use a MacBook Pro with the Touch Bar 13-inch laptop for 24 hours. Well, I had to because my laptop was having some issues, but so I've tasted both sides, you could say. Yes, I've tasted more of one side than the other, so I've been with Windows more and I know a lot more about it than Macs, but I can say that I've experienced it. And that's good enough for me to give you my experience using both platforms. So one thing that, I'm being super open-minded and genuine, by the way, no bias whatsoever. So one thing that I've noticed about using a MacBook was the fact that the OS is a lot more stable, a lot more smooth, like fluid, and it feels like it was just meant to work with the hardware, and that makes 1,000,000,000% sense. You know why? Because think about it, Apple makes the hardware, Apple makes the software, so how hard is it for them to optimize it just dedicated for that hardware so the software works amazingly? With Windows, it's a whole different ballgame. So the hardware is made by a totally different company while the software is made by Microsoft. So that's why the Surface Book series or the Surface series tends to perform better, because Microsoft makes the hardware and the software. But most likely you're not going to get a Surface Book because they're kind of overpriced, and let's say you get a Dell laptop. The hardware might be good, the software might be good, but it will never be as optimized as a MacBook, because once again, Apple is able to dedicate the software for the hardware, dedicate the hardware for the software, and just make everything work so much better. So that's one thing that I've definitely, like, a noticeable difference was the fact that, like, reaction time. So if I would take a MacBook Air, let it sleep, and if I open up the laptop, it would open up in like 0.5 seconds, boom. But if I let my Dell XPS 15 sleep and open it up, it would take a good 5 seconds for the screen to react and actually open up. However, the Surface, of course, has like the same quick reaction speed, but that's because it's made from the same company. So that's something you should care about. In terms of optimization, Mac is well ahead of the Windows or the common Windows laptop. The main reason why we use software or an operating system is so that we can interact with the hardware easily. So back then when DOS was a thing, you would have to write a code down in order to, you know, perform a certain task. But we are lucky enough to have an actual graphical user interface that helps us communicate with the hardware of our laptop. So I think the biggest thing that really determines whether you are a Mac OS person or a Windows 10 person is based on preference. Look, I can go on all day telling you, look, the Mac has good optimization, look, Windows 10 has more customizability, look, Mac has a lot more user-friendly apps, look, Windows 10 has better security. Well, most likely, I think my Mac has better security, but I can throw all the facts that I want at you. But once you've experienced one side, your heart will just tell you this is the one. You know, like, you know how, like, you know how in Avatar, like, the guy, he went and caught the bird or whatever dragon thing, and he's like, this is the one. Once you use like a Mac and a Windows, you're gonna know this is the one. And I think until you really experience both sides, you can't really be like, oh, this is the good one. So if you are a guy who just used Mac for your whole life, you've never used Windows, you're definitely like, it's gonna be natural instinct that you're gonna say Mac is the best. But until you use Windows, you won't know the good side of Windows. And a Windows guy who's used Windows all his life is always gonna say Windows is the best because they've never experienced Mac. So I have used mostly Windows, but I've tried Mac and I know what Mac is good at, I know what Windows is good at, and I think for me at least, Windows is better. It's a better choice. It's, you know, it's just how that is. It's based on preference, it's based on taste. I can give you a KitKat and a Mars, and some people would say KitKat is better, some people would say Mars is better, but it's all based on personal preference. And I think something like a OS, a platform, that's based on personal preference. Someone that uses an iPhone and an iPad would enjoy getting a MacBook because it'll fit in with the ecosystem, it'll work better. Someone who has an Android device or a Microsoft phone will be better off using a Windows laptop. Well, yeah, that's how it is, because the whole goal here is to trap you in an ecosystem. So when you get an iPhone, it works better with the MacBook. So when you get a Samsung phone, it works better with the Samsung laptop. But mostly, if you get a Microsoft phone, it works better with the Microsoft laptop. But Microsoft is moving and helping Android a little bit, and it's like that. So what I'm trying to say is, if you watch 1,000 videos, each guy will give you a different answer. Some would say Mac is better, some would say Windows is better, but that is false. You don't want to listen to that. I want you to go and ask your friend, hey, let me use your laptop and experience it. Or go to the store and experience both OSs, and that'll help you decide. But if, once again, this is the only answer that I can give you direct with no if, buts, whatever. If you are tight on a budget, Windows is the option. If you have more of a budget, preference is the option. So I'm gonna leave you guys with that. And yeah, if I helped you or whatever, if you liked the video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and also turn on post notifications if you want to be notified for the future videos. So with that being said, this is Tech Alpha signing out with today's video. See you guys in the next one. Peace.